everyone. I think I'm just going to start billing myself as the only sane one on this broadcast.
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin.
There we go. Cranky isn't cranky anymore. Alyssa's cranky.
You know what I want to see in the forest? I want to see a unicorn. Want all you want. Wish in one hand, but poop in the other.
Well, hello, fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live. I'm Alissa, your resident head addict, and we finally got a full house this week. Finally. I can't tell you guys how happy I am that we have the whole crew here. Yes, my co-hosts this week are the one, the only, our resident fuzzball, the Wookster.
Hey, I'm alive. Hi.
We brought him back from the dead, guys.
Scientologist.
And also joining us is the one, the only cranky old guy, aka Patric,
who's actually the closest to being dead of everybody here, but that's okay. We're not gonna go there. So,
wow.
And we just went
we're going dark right away.
We went very grim. And our resident bracket battle master himself, Super Safi, looking very dapper.
Thank you so much. I dressed for the occasion.
So for those who usually watch us on the live stream, as you can tell, the show isn't live this week. No direct interaction. Why? Because we're recording our annual Blogiversary Q&A. Yes, this is something we started doing way back during our first Blogiversary in 2014. And we've continued to do it ever since. So we field your questions about anything and everything and put them together in a nice little video package for you. And in fairness, we are recording this on July 31st, before we're actually going to post it. You guys probably won't see this until September. And a few reasons behind that are, one, it's really hard to get all of us together, as you can see from our Addicts Live each week or each month. It's pretty hard to get everybody together. And two, the newest baby addict is due pretty much any day. So we wanted to make sure we got this knocked out before D-Day actually hits. So yeah. Anyway,
is that what you're naming? Is that what you're naming the baby? D?
Yeah, D-Day.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
No, it's going to be WrestleMania. WrestleMania. Because that's a good name for a Simpsons baby.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Riley's middle name is Margaret, so we'll have to.
And I do call her Baby Maggie. So I think the new little addict is just going to be WrestleMania to Uncle Wookster.
Maybe.
Like, why does he call me that? Don't worry about it, WrestleMania.
Anyway, guys, can you believe it's been 5 years? We're almost to 5 years of the site being in existence. It's pretty insane, if you ask me. And we've had a lot of faces come and a lot of faces go over the years. And Patric left and came back, but it's still.
I was always here in spirit somehow. Sometimes I was on the wall. You were throwing things at me, but I was here in spirit.
More than sometimes. More than sometimes.
Yes.
But it's still 5 years is still pretty insane when you think about it. Do you guys have any thoughts about 5 years? I know, Wook, you and I have been doing this the longest on this site, and Saf, you just joined us, and Pat, you're
forever
all over the place.
Yeah.
But any thoughts before we get to questions?
Just blogging in general. I mean, I'm never really sure at this point to be excited or embarrassed. So it's like we've all played the game about the same length of time. We've all been blogging about the same length of time, and it's a little insane to try and explain to people outside the blogosphere or the that are fans. And at the same time, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's been pretty amazing to keep this thing going that long. So. It's longer than most jobs I've had my entire life. So glad to work for myself.
You said off camera that the last time you had a real job was right around the time I was born, Pat.
That's true. That is absolutely true. No,
That's how old Pat is.
That's true. I had to work for myself because I'm a terrible employee. I admit it. So
yeah.
Any thoughts from you, Wook?
5 years, which means we've almost been playing the game 6 years. And there's still people that give a rat's bottom about the game. That's crazy. crazy. So it's wild. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't blog as much as I'd like to, but it's wild to still be a part of it. And yes, Pat, explaining it to people is hard. And finding people that like know who you are all of a sudden, even though they've known you the whole time and they think different because they read your jokes, it's just weird.
Yeah, yeah. And Rat's Bottom, by the way, is not trademarked by Disneyland because Mickey Mouse is a mouse, not a rat. So you can say it anytime you want. Yeah.
Right. True.
I will say, well, the last, and I know you check the site pretty regularly, even though you're not writing much anymore. We've been running Look Back Perspective, which was actually a very good idea by Pat when we realized we had a week lull. It was a very good idea. And we've been running. I actually ran. You probably had the most post run because you wrote about a variety of things aside from just like, here's a walkthrough, here's a should I buy. So
yeah,
I think a lot of readers got a chance to see. Some readers that weren't around in 2013 got a chance to see the beginnings of TSTO Anonymous.
Yeah.
And some of your other classics. You know, I tried to pull out some of my favorites. So I think people got a good perspective, even though you haven't been writing as much lately. They still at least got a taste of it. Looked like new to them because they hadn't seen it from 5 years ago. So
that's a secret evil plan. We're just going to recycle all of my posts. You won't even notice that I'm busy with work and school.
Well, it's funny too, though, because a lot of it still applies today. You know, like the burnout from 2016. You know, that still applies today. I mean, we get people complaining about that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was actually reading the site today, going through, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! That guy had no idea. We had no idea what was in store for us."
No, I could never imagine in a million years, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that I'd still be doing this. No way.
Yeah.
There's no way. So,
well,
we just keep doing it. We wake up and do it again.
I've said several times, if you told me 5 years ago I'd still be doing this in 5 years, I'd tell you were a whack job. Turns out I'm the whack job.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot. Yeah. Saf, do you have any thought? I know you haven't been with us for 5 years, nor have you been blogging for 5 years, but you've been part of the site since, 2016.
Almost 5 years.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as contributor.
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, today's the 5-year anniversary of me playing TSTO. I got my iPad 5 years ago today, so
Wow.
yeah, it's actually immortalized in the poem that I won the Valentine's Day contest back in 2014. I mentioned getting the iPad. So I've been a member of this site, of this community, for nearly 5 years. I think I started visiting in September 2014. So to see how much how much work you guys put into it, and now to kind of be on this side and see how much work goes into it, it's really amazing
Now I realize
that you guys kept
really
doing it for 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I know why you're dressed up. You're going to take your iPad out for a little day, a little spin. You'll come back and have a drink.
5 years.
Get a little cozy.
I would just, does that make Safi like patient zero?
Yeah,
like,
I think
of
so.
the site?
He's been around. Safi's been around. He's one of the few that were there in 2013. So back when Wookiee and I used to email each other back and forth saying like, man, I really hope we get 1,000 hits today. Oh, we're at like 900. I hope we get to 1,000.
And now here we are, 100 million hits.
Yeah. Now we're well over 100 million hits. So we do well more than 1,000 hits a day. But
I think people, the real thing we have to keep track of is the 500,000 plus comments we've moderated. Good Lord.
Yes.
Nuts.
That is crazy. The math on that's nuts.
People like to talk.
504, 957.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, I just looked at it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I just approved 3 of them.
There you go. So yeah, it's
we're not gonna hang up until we hit 600,000. So,
Yeah.
that's right. It's a marathon.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's funny though. I mean, 5 years ago, I don't think any of us. I mean, and it's funny because the same things cycle back over and over and over again. It's like every so many updates, we get people saying, "Oh, this game is done. This is the end." It's been happening for 5 years. I've been hearing people telling me that this game is ending since 2000. Pat was the original one to tell me this game was ending in December of 2013.
That's probably true.
So
I've heard it. They should have killed it in 2013. That's when it would be out for like 3, 4, 5 days at a pop. It's like, kill it now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an unsustainable model. I think I remember those words from Pat.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was wrong about TSTO, but I was right about Movie Pass.
Yes.
It's unsustainable.
Right once in 5 years, we'll give you that.
That's right.
But here's the thing. I mean, for every comment that we get that the game's coming to an end, I feel like we get just as many comments to say, "Oh, I just discovered the game in this site, and this is a great site. I'm coming here for the first time." So I think it's kind of an endless loop there.
I kind of flipped on after I read Mike Reese's book. Those guys aren't like going to stop the show until someone makes them stop the show. I mean, it's really clear that there's no end game at this point.
That's how I feel like we are with this site. We're not going to stop until someone forces us to. At this point, you might as well just keep going. I mean,
really, like Baby Maggie's first job is going to be writing for the site.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll pay so well too.
Yeah.
Here, kid. Here's a nickel.
Wait, she gets a nickel?
Yeah. Hey, you got a Christmas present. What more do you want? Come on. Running on a tight budget. So yeah, 5 years has been pretty incredible that we're still doing this, and that we're Joe and I are still good friends.
Yeah.
Pat and I have had our moments, but we're
good friends again. We're good friends
again.
Yeah, we're family again. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all because of Riley. I went back and read that first post that I wrote when I came back 2 years ago, and it made me a little verklempt, I got to admit. I mean, it brought it all back, and it really was that whole thing of when you had Riley, and I reached out and I said, "Look, I know that she's in ICU and that was it. That was the turning point for me. It was like, okay, this has got to stop. This is silly." So anyway,
we have to grow up, as we were commenting this past weekend.
Yes.
We finally grew up. Other people haven't yet, but
yeah.
I actually went through storage this past weekend, and in one of the boxes that I had college books, I had your book signed by you, and I was laughing about it. I was like, "Oh, those were the days."
What's so funny about that book is that we still get royalties because somebody will find it and we'll get like $1.93 or something every 6 months, But the thing that's hilarious when you go through that thing, it stops in like Thanksgiving 2015. It ends. That's as far as we could go forward with it. And it was hilarious.
Because you thought the game was going to end.
It was going to end. Well, we're done with the book.
That's it.
Must be over.
Book's done.
That's really funny.
All right, so let's jump to the questions. We've got you guys are always so great in submitting your questions, and they tend to vary too. I mean, we've been doing this is the fourth one of these we've done, and sometimes we get the same questions, but a lot of times you guys ask different questions, which is always impresses me. So the first question comes to us from Late to Web. I'm guessing that they were late to the internet party. Says, how much time per week do each of you all devote to this blog? Not including the time spent playing the game. So I assume, as I assume you would do that anyway, but time spent figuring things out for us on how to play each event, as well as writing it up, answering and re-answering questions, making graphs, and finding obscure references, etc. Yeah, re-answering questions. Yeah.
Well, you're at the top of that apex. So, I mean, Alissa spends some multiplier of 10 or 20 than the rest of us do. I figured it out that on an average week, I spend between 6 and 8 hours, depending on how many posts we have. On an off week, it's like 2 hours, as far as doing a Friday post or a pickup post or something like that. And then all the way through, I almost always have my browser open to the comments that I'll just keep flipping through. So that's kind of I don't even count that. It's almost like grinding the event. It's like so second nature now. So
I was looking at like the times that we respond to comments and everything. It feels like we almost have full 24-hour coverage. I mean, I'll start answering some comments at 4 a.m. And when I log in at 4 a.m., I see like Pat's been answering questions up till like midnight Eastern or 1 a.m. Eastern. Yeah. So there's really just like a couple hours there that you guys aren't getting responses right away.
But let me tell you, the Australians are really upset about it. So.
Well, Saf, how much time do you spend probably doing you do a lot of the strategy posts, which I know are time consuming, but also the bracket battles, which everybody loves.
The bracket battles do take up quite a bit of time, but usually it's 1 day a week where I devote a few hours to get those going. A lot of the brackets were preconceived, so going into a bracket, it requires a lot of editing. I have to figure out which characters have been, or skins or buildings have been introduced in the game since then. As you saw last year, oftentimes I overlook a building that was already added.
Or that it comes out in the middle of an event, and then you have to go back and scrub a bunch of them. That was hilarious.
Right. I had to take Fifth Fat Tony out and a couple other skins this year, which was nice. Actually, they added Fifth Fat Tony as a full-on character as opposed to a skin. I had kind of conceived them. Those things take up a fair amount of time. Comments, it really depends on my work schedule. The last 2.5 months roughly have been extremely busy at work, so unfortunately haven't been putting in as much time answering your comments, but generally I try to get the comments before heading off to work in the morning, and then I try to cover as much as possible on weekends. But I enjoy it, so it's fun. Some questions and comments are less fun than others. But yeah, there's. Why
are you looking at me again? You guys are always looking at me when you do that. No, I'm joking. Anyway.
And Joe, how much time did you use to spend?
That's what I was like. Literally, I was like, Alyssa's gonna tell you not enough, and she's right. But yeah, work and school. Like, I think I even saw a comment where someone was like, that's what I'm addicted to now. You're right. I am. I'm addicted to that now. But, oh, God, like 12 hours minimum a week. And that was just to write the where did that come from. So as Pat and Safi have learned, it take a while.
They do take a while. Yeah,
they're not fast.
They surprisingly take a while. Although the fun part about those is you do go back and watch episodes that you haven't seen in a long time. So it's I think there's an upside to that. What actually takes me the longest, to be honest with you, at this point is the calendars, and it's because I don't know when to stop designing the little bits and pieces, and I it's like I spoiled myself, and now I just did one. It was like 3.5 hours. It's like, what for one post? Kill me.
The strategy ones for me take the longest time. Yeah, like the Quickie Mart farming. That one took us. That one went through several drafts, several hours of work.
That's more of a treatise, though. I mean, you could have got a doctorate in Simpsonology or something on that.
He did.
That was
from the University of Canada.
That one did take a long time. I actually did write a paper at university. I mentioned this on other lives and other comments on how the Simpsons juxtaposed Western social cultural environment at university. Got a 96% on it. One of my best university papers. That one took the most time. Where did that come from? The one that I did for Canada's 150th birthday, that took a lot of time, as there's just so many references to Canada in the show's 30-year history. So that was pretty intense. The other ones that do take a lot of time, are also the super stats ones, depending on which one I'm going into. Pulling from the code, finding out the stats. Now they've kind of made it a little bit easier by introducing some of the numbers into the game, but those guys take a lot of time to writing post.
Yeah, and I would say that now I probably spend about 4 to 5 hours a day on average, at least, on the site. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I try not to spend any weekend time unless we're doing an Addicts Live. So but I still would say it probably averages out to 35 to 40 hours a week on the site. Because between writing posts, I mean, you guys see how many posts have my name on them. So because between writing posts, between finding out the information, I generally try to pull the information for these guys if they have a question, or I have to find a specific area to send to like Safi if he's trying to figure out stats. Answering questions, trying to figure out what to write next, pulling images, all that fun stuff. Like just today, the Moe's Arc event, and like I said, we're recording this on July 31st. The Moe's Arc event stuff hit the files. And it probably took me a good, from when it hit to, Pat, when did I send you that stuff? It was like, what, 4 hours later?
Time ago, yeah.
It was like 4 hours after I told you the stuff hit the files. So that's how long it takes to go through everything. And I'm usually doing other things in the process too. But yeah, I'd say probably 4 to 5 hours on average a day is
So here's the one.
It's a lot less than I used. Sorry, it's a lot less than I used to spend.
Yeah, but
5
here's
years
the
ago,
one
I
bit
was
of
on the
trivia
site a
that's hilarious. That when you got married, you actually took a honeymoon. That you did not take your phone, or you did not ever log in. I know that you were off the site for like 5 days or something like that.
Well, funny story. My husband locked my phone in the safe.
I knew there was something I liked about that guy.
But the resort we stayed at had a computer room. So I would sneak off and go in the computer room and check the site to make sure you guys weren't destroying it. No joke. Full on truth.
No, I do remember that time. Yes, I do remember that time. She emailed all of us and said, "Don't let so-and-so blow up the site." I
told everybody the same thing. I said, "Don't let so."
Yep.
So everybody.
Every comment said that.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So
going down here.
So the answer is too much.
Yes.
But gotta have content up. Even the last week where we posted reruns, still took a lot of time to put the posts, to find them, put them together, all that stuff. So
yeah.
And the comments, I'm a lot better. I used to answer every single comment. Now I let you guys answer their own comments. So if somebody asks a question, I'll let somebody else from the community answer it. But or I find a post that I can link to, which makes my life a lot easier.
Yeah. I will say that's something that has changed, which made life easier, is we do have a real community of readers that are very helpful, has made it a lot easier. It's kind of like, oh, I know they'll pick that up. I'm just going to push it. So it's easier to push, 10 comments through, knowing that somebody will pick it up quickly. So
exactly.
Somebody else knows the answer.
All right. So Evgarama says, I'm interested in the hobby of each of you guys. What is your favorite creative pastime, and what is something that you could be making money off of if you didn't have your current job? Or I guess it's supposed to say, is it something you could be making money off of, your hobby, that is?
I think that's what they're saying. Yeah. Well, I'd certainly be on the senior tour in golf. No, not even close. Not even close. No, I mean, mine are really easy. Everybody already knows mine. Because I was a musician, I'd go back to doing music. I still do music. That's my go-to when I need to make money. That's on the side. Side money, side shekels. Go write something for somebody, get it done. But the rest of it's golf and family. That's it. And the family is taking up everything now, so it's all good. Too many kids, too many grandkids. I wish they'd give me money. Hey, we just came up with something. We're going to make money off the grandkids somehow. That's my side bit.
Well, don't sell them. It's not a good idea.
I'll rent them out. I'm going to rent them out. I saw some today. I saw something that they're actually leasing puppies. I've never heard of that in my entire life. Leasing puppies. So I think that there's a possibility of leasing grandkids. I have really cute grandkids. I'll lease them out. All right, go ahead.
I don't have human trafficking, but
Yeah, no, not trafficking.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
It's all legit. I'll put the pictures up, and they'll just look.
It's all above board.
That's right.
It's on the up and up.
All right, that's enough about me.
my hobby is tapped out. So if I could have a different job, I guess I would create my own tapped out blog. No,
There's a lot of money in that.
Stiff competition.
a shiny nickel for me.
Here, I'll get started. I'll actually give you a quarter. There you go.
Wow.
Ooh, it's
That
American too, so that's like
Canada, the
28
US
cents Canada.
Canada, I was gonna say this will go further in Canada. So
I'm just hoping you have another hobby, Safi, because others have tried and failed in the competition blogosphere of TSTO.
Yeah, there's a large dung heap of people that have tried and failed. Yes.
we are the
So
last
I'm a
ones
huge
standing.
baseball fan. So if I had an option going back, I would have gone the Theo Epstein, Alex Anthopoulos route and become a baseball exec.
Ooh, we would have been a catcher for the Expos.
That could use a catcher.
Wookster.
I play guitar. I'm not as musically talented as Pat, but I could probably be in some bad cover band. And yeah, Wookster and the Fuzzballs, and then I do the silly podcast thing. It'd be nice to make some money off of that, but it's like TSTO blogging. So, yeah, but yeah, it'd be great to be a pundit about geek stuff, but it is what it is.
There's a lot of
Wish
you out
I
there.
made money doing my real job.
What'd be interesting is to go to Comic-Con these days and say, everybody that's got a podcast, raise your hand. And
I know.
half would raise their hand. So.
How many of you also blog about a very specific game?
Hey, who's that guy wearing the University of Oregon shirt? That's not me. Anyway.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say. Well, Wookiee, you do comic books too, don't you?
Yeah, I'm working on one with a friend. That'd be nice, but that's slow going. I'm the writer. It's all the work goes on to the artist. So like, you know, I spend 2 days writing out 24 pages of an issue, and I'm like, hey, it's so great. And he's like, I hate you. Like a comic page, literally, if you can do it in a day, that's like amazing.
Yeah.
So it takes a while.
Yeah.
So my hobbies, I love baseball, as everybody knows, and I get very adamant about things. As in, last night I actually wished that the entire Red Sox team would come down with hand, foot, and mouth disease, and then it apparently bit me in the butt this morning because now Jaw Happ, who I will forever call Jaw Happ.
Jaw Happ, come on, he's Toronto's beloved pitcher.
His name is James Anthony. It's J period A period, but he wants to be called J. It's very weird, so I'm just going to call him Jaw. Now has hand, foot, mouth disease, so it came back to bite me in the butt. But and I love writing, which is, it came back to bite full circle. Came back and bit me right square in the tuchus. But yeah, and I love to write, so I'm actually very fortunate that I've been doing this for 5 years, because as much as I complain sometimes and say people annoy the bejesus out of me, I do really enjoy writing, so I'm grateful that I'm able to do that.
And by the way, she's still talking about me, just so you know.
I get the brunt of my pregnancy rants these days. So
he annoys the bejesus out of me.
But yeah, so I'm very fortunate that I am able to write in every day. I mean, I wish I could write more creatively, but then I'd have to not do as many how-to posts that I do for you guys, and that would be I'd probably get a lot of flack for that. But so yeah, and if I could be making money off of something, I'd alternate universe, I would love to be a baseball writer or something with baseball. So yeah. All right.
You could be Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, go find a B team somewhere, C team, a short summer team. You could be the bimbo that works the
now you're calling me a bimbo? Jeez.
No, you could be. That's all I'm saying. You could be.
What? So now I'm not good enough to be a bimbo? Ay, ay, ay.
Oh boy.
All right. Next question.
Don't write about that.
Send all complaints to tstopatric@gmail.com. That's Patrick, Patric, no K.
Oh God.
All right. Why You Need to Know asks, describe your perfect Simpsons episode if you could write and cast it any way you want.
I after just reading Mike Reese's book, and I'm kind of obsessed with this whole thing now, and watching a bunch of interviews, what I'd like to do is maybe redo the monorail episode, but make the writers do all the voices. I think that'd be hilarious. I mean, because it's, Conan was involved with that, but I think the writers, the showrunner, they have to do the voices because they write all this stuff. It's kind of like you, Wook. You get to write the book, and then everybody else has to do the animation, the hard work. It'd be fun to watch them have to go through that process on some level. Too cerebral? Okay, fine.
It sort of falls into my thoughts on it. Literally, my episode is Marge versus the Maglev. And a new Shuckster salesman comes into Springfield to sell a Maglev train that's going to connect Shelbyville to Springfield and open up all sorts of opportunities. So you get more jokes about Springfield versus Shelbyville. And then it all comes out that it's Lyle Landley, like his, or like his kid or whatever. And then you could just do like little points that like honor Marge versus the monorail, but still like are more modern. Because, monorails, there's one that circles Disneyland, and that's about the only functional one that does something. And literally, it goes in circles. Like if you want to go
No. There's one in Seattle. There's
one in Vegas.
Functioning monorail in Seattle. It's been around forever, since the World's Fair.
There's one in Vegas.
There's
one at the airport. There's one at the airport in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Or Seattle.
But that's interesting. I mean, the thing is, you keep coming back to that same thing where they're never going to do an episode with any of those characters that he voiced. So you'd almost have to come up with an alternative just so you could get around that, right?
We come up with an all-new character that basically is him, and then you find somebody who does a mean Phil Hartman impression.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being his son. I like that. That's interesting. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I even title it Marge versus the Maglev.
I like it.
They like to lampoon things, and there's like a lot of drama about the Maglev train, like from LA to San Francisco or Sacramento or whatever it is. So there's a lot of like political hilarity to mine there.
Let's not forget that they're going to build that tube system. I mean, Tesla is supposedly going to be building the tube system.
It's being built. My best friend works for it. I got to take a tour of SpaceX, and he showed me where they're started already.
So they're going to suck up humans, like what happens at the bank. Like, no, instead of sucking up your money, just sucks up you.
No, they're going to finish it, and then all of LA is going to fall into it because it's the foundation of the city's built on.
Right now, it just sucks your buttons off your shirt and stuff. It's just, they're testing it.
Like, it's just, I think Elon Musk has an affinity for the movie Chud, and he's just trying to make LA into the real version of it, I guess.
It's that or Dune.
There goes my SpaceX job.
There you go.
Oh boy. Saf.
If I could design a perfect episode, let's see, or my own episode, I'd have an episode where they're playing the little elves game. Cricket. No, they're playing their little elves game, and then they meet these bloggers who write a blog about the little elves, the Happy Elves game. And my guest stars would be the four of us. Yeah, so I think that's what I would go with.
They're like, does that one guy only wear a Chewbacca costume? Like, we don't have questions about it.
Right.
I could come up with stats about the elves, or my character would come up with stats about the elves, and try to explain to Homer how he can farm elf houses. And yeah,
there you go.
We should write this episode and submit it. I know
you're the writer.
This whole conversation does bring up something, though. This brings up an interesting thing. Where's Shelbyville? You know, it's like they've got all that space above Springfield Heights that could be Shelbyville really easily. How come they haven't done that yet, I wonder? They
Because
hinted
when they
around at
introduce
it.
Shelbyville, it's going to be the end of the world.
Like all they would have to do is like push mountains that go like cut off where Springfield Heights land is.
Yeah.
And then you could even have Bart's like mural where it's Shelbyville Stinks is like right
Yeah.
there on the mountains.
There you go. There you
And
go.
then you can put it right up there. But we're just gonna get
But
it,
then-
and it's gonna fit in our Springfield and not make sense, and we'll all be happy about it.
But then I want Ogdenville and North Haverbrook too, because the monorail put them on the map.
That's true.
We actually got the monorail cafe from North Haverbrook,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So
And we have the Whoosie, what's it? The
lemon
tow
tree.
lot. Yeah, the
and
tow lot from
impound
Shelbyville.
lot.
That's
Yeah.
it. Then. I couldn't think of the word inbound.
Oh, it gets worse. Trust me.
My brain is fried.
She's thinking for two, Pat.
No, and I'm just saying, you know, the good news about getting old is that everything's new every other day. It's like, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember back 5 years. I had to look at notes. I did that. I said that. Oh my God. No wonder people hate me.
I would like to see an episode of The Simpsons where Brockmire comes to Springfield.
Oh God.
I think that
You
would be
watch
brilliant.
Brockmire.
Yes,
That
it's the best show.
Is so over the top. It makes
But
me
it's so
wince.
good.
It's hilarious. It's absolutely
But
hilarious.
I think Brockmire should call an Isotopes game. It would be brilliant.
Oh God.
With
Okay,
Wait,
then.
Duff-
which isotopes? The baseball ones or the football ones?
the
or
baseball
hockey
ones, of course.
That's
With,
just-
where he's got Duff beer hidden in his shoe, and you know he's got binoculars that he opens up and drinks stuff. I think
That'd be
brilliant.
great. That'd be hilarious. That show is funny. It makes me win. But
I
it's
still think that Alissa needs to cast her new softball episode with current baseball stars.
fun. I like
I
that.
agree.
No, the original's too good.
Yeah.
Gotta shave those sideburns.
I think I just want Mike Trout to have a run-in with the law.
I
It's gonna be
think
Roberto sooner right now. He's got to run in with the law.
my problem
Yeah.
is that I haven't watched either team since Ellsbury jumped over to the Yankees. There's something wrong with that whole concept.
Well, Ellsbury is in a body cast, so
I'm aware.
he's a
There's
walking.
something about that. I'm just saying.
I mean,
That
think
was-
how you could have pick your baseball player and he walks by the mystery spot and Ozzie Smith pops out of it. What I miss?
That'd be pretty good.
Actually, just put that in an episode, Simpsons people. Like that would be so great.
That would be good.
Just does a backflip out of the mystery spot.
Yeah.
All right. Jaffe2357 says, actually been on my mind for a while. With a name like Wookiee, starting with the OG 1977 Star Wars movie and all the sequels, prequels until Han Solo movie this year, what are your top 2 favorite and your least 2 favorite of all time? Might be a painful choice or maybe not. This is a question totally for Wook because Star Wars
this
and
could be
I
for
are not.
everybody.
Well,
but,
I have not watched a Star Wars movie since I was in 8th grade. So
I've watched them all, but go ahead, Wook.
I mean, it's easy. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi are the best Star Wars movies of all of them.
Agreed.
And least favorite, Attack of the Clones for sure, and probably Phantom Menace. I mean,
Anything with Jar Jar Binks, it goes to the bottom for me.
episode 3, I've got an affinity for it, and there's parts I like of the first 2 prequels. I'm a prequelist. I really like Han Solo.
I'm prequelist. I knew there was a term for it.
Yeah, but I really liked Han Solo. Actually, Rogue One ranks really low for me. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but it ranks low. I'd actually put episode 3 above Rogue One, I think.
Yeah, we watched all of them when we were back in New Jersey with Katie. We were sitting watching all of them right after the baby was born. Anyway, it's fascinating to me because the effects are so amazing. I mean, the movie making is so much better now that it's crazy what the difference is. But the storylines just, some of them just don't hold together at all, effects or no effects. So
I mean, the latest two, Last Jedi and Han Solo, are the two most beautifully shot of the Star Wars movies. Like the cinematography is just wow. But it just depends on what you want from a Star Wars movie.
Well, I liked both of the new ones. I mean, I thought it was great when you first saw the Millennium Falcon again, and people wept.
Right.
I mean, people in the theater were weeping. You know, it's like, oh, okay, here we are. We're going back to some weird something that touches us from when we were 15 or whatever it was when these things came out.
Who touched you when you were 15?
That's why I'm weeping. That's my crazy Uncle Felix.
Show me on the Jar Jar doll where George Lucas hurt you.
The Jar Jar doll.
No, it's exciting. I mean, we're recording on the 31st of July. Tomorrow, August 1st, they're starting filming of episode 9. You're getting all the cast coming back, including Mark Hamill in whatever form. They said that they're going to use old footage of Carrie Fisher from episode 7 to bring her into the movie.
Right.
And then you get new actors joining the cast and more for all these new characters that like my 9-year-old loves Rey. Like dresses up with her like every chance she gets. Like I bought her staff for like a birthday and I was like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, it's cool.
That's fun.
Saf, do you have an opinion on Star Wars?
Not a huge Star Wars person. What was the one that had the 2 Spocks? I really liked that one. Just teasing.
I'm a Star Wars.
You bet my Wookiee. I liked episode 5 the best, and then probably episode 4. My least favorites were probably episode 2. 1 and 3, I know everyone complains about them, but I didn't really mind them that much. I haven't seen Han Solo yet.
Yeah, for me, I think the problem I have with the Jar Jar Binks scene and that whole era is that Frank Oz took it over and it became like a Muppet movie. It lost its I don't know. It just kind of lost its jag. Jabba the Hutt was like the last great movie monster at that point. And then after that, it got like I said, it was like Muppets. Oh, there's another Muppet. There's another Muppet. It was weird. It's just weird.
Maybe people like Muppets.
No, I get it. I get it.
Riley likes Muppets.
Yeah. No.
Jim Henson did pretty well for himself with Muppets.
No, Muppet Baby Star Wars is the best thing ever.
God. I'm just saying that Darth is one very bad guy. Sith, bad. Some weird Muppety thing that kind of no, it doesn't do it for me. Sorry.
Not a big fan of Salacious Crumb, huh?
No. Anyway,
this is the only evil villain I know.
But in Toy Story 2, they did homage to Star Wars.
I know. That's the only reference I could give you to Star Wars right here.
Actually, Empire Strikes Back, the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so, I love Toy Stories. All of them. Anyway, go ahead.
I literally have no opinion on this question. So I have not watched enough Star Wars to give you guys a legitimate answer. All right. Jay Cooley 9 says he's got 2 questions. First one is, since we just finished an amusement park event, how about a question on that? What is your favorite amusement park and what's one of your favorite rides?
That's a broader question.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Animal Kingdom and the Avatar ride, just recency bias.
Which one?
Recency bias.
Sorry. Pandora Flight of
Passage?
Flight of Passage.
You didn't like the boring boat ride through the glowing trees?
Navi? No, I kind of want my 2 hours back in line.
Okay.
I love Disneyland. I've never been to Disney World. I've been to Universal Studios. For favorite rides, I'm an old coaster guy. I wrote about it. I love wooden coasters, and I've got a trip planned where I'm going to go hit a bunch of the old wooden coasters that are out there still. So there you go. Knoebel, I understand Knoebel's has got 3 great ones. So
they just Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. If that's on your trip, you let me know. I'll come visit. But they redid the wooden coaster, and it's supposed to be really good. And then Knott's Berry Farm has Ghost Rider, which is a really good wooden coaster too.
I like them because they beat the crap out of you, and you could fly out of your seat. That's what I like about the real old wooden coasters. There's that element of fear, you know.
You put those 2 on your list, so you let me know, and we'll hang out.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. But favorite rides. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm old school. Pirates of the Caribbean is still my favorite ride at Disneyland. I'm amazed by it every time I ride on it. I could ride it 5 times a day and not be bored.
No, they took the redhead out.
But they did a good job. I mean, well, she has a really bad Irish brogue, but it's sort of cool. And now instead of like women being objectified by like sex slavery, they're objectifying her because she's gorgeous and has an Irish brogue. While all the men yell that they want alcohol, not whatever she's selling. So it's pretty good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good. I could do with one less Johnny Depp on that ride, but I'll live with it. You know,
they added a new effect to the attraction, which like blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, "Whoa, that was cool." I don't want to run it. I want you to.
Well, it'll have to be in Disney World for me to see it because it'll be a while before I go back to Disneyland. But I'm going to Disney World in November.
Well, I figure you brought baby Maggie here like at 2, so I just have to wait like 2 years. We're still going to be friends then, right?
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
What's your favorite amusement park? I know what your answer is not. So.
No, Disneyland is my favorite amusement park. It still is, although like working there does change the magic. But and the world famous Jungle Cruise is and always will be my favorite attraction. It's so dabgum unique. Like I got to just go on safari like all through the jungle like a couple days ago, and it was crazy. And it's like its own ecosystem. But also Haunted Mansion's amazing too, and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is really good.
Well, Thunder Mountain's actually a good coaster. That's a really good coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. Coaster for all ages.
So
it's my favorite of all the coasters there. Sorry, go ahead.
So we'll apparently have a Disney bias because the YouTube basically said Disneyland and Safi said Animal Kingdom. I will say Magic Kingdom is my favorite. It'll always hold a special place in my heart in Disney World.
So you mean Disneyland because that's the original Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom because they're changing it so much. But Magic Kingdom in Disney World is the only place where you can ride the greatest ride that ever existed. And you know what that is? The
Hall of
Carousel
Presidents?
Progress. No. The Carousel Hall of Presidents is not a ride. You sit there. But Carousel of Progress is the greatest ride that has ever been made.
Yep, I remember that.
It is the greatest. And you know why it's so good? Because it's one of the few rides that Walt actually had a hand in every single aspect. That in the Tiki Room, but he had a hand in every single aspect.
Pirates.
Well, yeah. Animatronic-wise, all that stuff, because that was originally for the World's Fair.
Yeah.
And it was in Disneyland, and then they moved it to Disney World, and that's the only place you can ride it. And that's why
I was
Magic Kingdom is my favorite place.
They moved it out of Disneyland because that was one of the originals. I remember seeing that on Wonderful World of Color. You know, they used to do the tours there all the time as part of the TV show. And it was very, very cool. They still, I mean, you still see footage from that era, you know, and we're all going to fly. And then we're going to have the cars that do this. And I mean, it's very cool. Very,
it
very
is
cool.
the cheesiest thing, but it is the best thing.
Oh, I was glad to go on it when we went to Florida.
And we will go on it. We're going to Magic Kingdom 3 times when we go in November. We will go on it 3 times, at least.
Oh, nice. So I got a 4-day pass. I did Animal Kingdom, then Magic Kingdom, then Epcot, and then Magic Kingdom a second time. And yeah, there's just so much to do in Magic Kingdom. It's just a blast. And I love water rides too. So I got to give a special shout out to Splash Mountain.
Well, and then if
Disneyland's still better.
Well, since Carousel of Progress, and I consider it a ride because you do move. Well, my husband says the stage moves, but I think the theater moves.
It's the theater.
Yeah, the theater moves. So you do move, so it is a ride. But so my favorite thrill ride though is Tower of Terror, but only the Tower, and it's not Tower of Terror in Disneyland anymore, I know, but only the Tower of Terror in Florida. And the reason why is because you actually leave the elevator shaft, go out through the hotel, and then you drop.
It's pretty cool.
Makes
but
it better.
now that they rethemed the one in California, the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's really, really good.
Yes, it is. That's a lot of fun because I did that with you when we were out there last summer, and that was a lot of fun.
It's really good. They made it better.
I actually like the Harry Potter castle. I might be the one that wasn't there, but
Well, that's universal, but
No, I know that.
I really liked it, but then I broke down 2 times in a row, and like one of the time, like I had a Dementor like right in my face, and I was like, this is not like, you know what I mean? Like even if you break down in hell in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, like you're not scared out of your mind.
Yeah.
So
that is, and I will say that's one nice thing about Disneyland is all the classic rides are still there. And Disney World right now is working really hard to eliminate all of these classic rides and change them. So like Haunted Mansion is going to change to Coco themed. So it's like they got rid of Snow White, they got rid of Mr. Toad, like all that stuff used to be there. And now you can only get it in Disneyland, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I love that about Disneyland, that you can kind of have that old sense of the rides. So
some of the new Disney
newer.
Sorry, just doesn't do it for me. If I have to go on
because you're old,
the Moana shipwreck tour, no, I don't want Lin-Manuel.
Well, I mean, they do neat stuff like when they added Finding Nemo to the submarine ride when they brought the submarines back. That actually was really cool. It was a good way of keeping the classic.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, but we don't need Coco's Mansion.
No,
I'm not happy about that because Haunted Mansion is such a classic. But I'm not.
And honestly, Florida's Mansion is my favorite of all of them that I've been on. I've been on 3 different ones,
and so it's and it's even better if you do the behind the scenes tour with it, because they give you they point out, because you still have your headsets on during it, and they point out all the things that you don't usually see, and then they give you a lot of history behind stuff. It's actually really neat. It actually gave me a greater appreciation for that ride than I've already had. All right. So Jay Cooley's other question is, what is the percentage of comments that you have to remove in moderation? One thing that makes this community so great is how supportive it is. I imagine that when the trolls don't see their comments being posted here, they move on to the next blog. I will say that originally the percentage of comments we had to delete was probably 0.5% back in the day, right, Joe? Like we very rarely got trolls. Very rarely.
It was like 10 a year, honestly.
Yeah. Pat came back to the site. And
I knew we were going to go there. And
apparently people hate Pat. So it's still, I would say it's still probably like 1%. Like it's not, there's not a lot of bad comments.
No, it runs in cycles. And what it really, I've figured out that there's 2 topics. One we won't talk about for fear that's like Beetlejuice that will come back again. But the other topic that got people fired up is the hardcore KEM farmers, etc. When I first started writing about it and I didn't understand it and I wasn't there, boy, did the trolls come out on that. I mean, there's some forum whack jobs that only come out. And here's a little heads up, boys and girls. We can see your IP addresses. We can see if they're spoofed. We can see where you're from. And so if you've only posted 3 comments in the last 6 months and they've all been snotty things directed at me, it's like, oh, gee, it's you again. So we can either block you or we'll just keep blowing your comments up. But no, it's pretty rare. It's very, very rare, really. But yes, I seem to incite most of it at this point. But that's why you brought me over, So
all right. So Josephine, I'm just speeding it up a little bit because we've gotten through like 5 questions and we have a lot.
Lord. Okay, we're gonna limit it.
Josephine Kickass says, how did each of you get introduced to this? Josephine Kickass is also Grandma Madar, who said, how did each of you get introduced to this game? Friend, found the app, whatever. Wookiee, you want to start? We'll just go.
So just like being sad and lonely and not having people to hang out with, found it was just like a recommended app like on the App Store. It's like, you might like this. And I was like, Simpsons. I love Simpsons. And then one of my friends basically said, hey, I got 10 free notice and the Jebediah Springfield. And I was like, how'd you get that? And that's how I found Tips. And then the rest is history. Then it's, TSTO, whatever. I don't even remember the name of it. The Facebook for TSTO. And then now it's here.
So you found the game, because the question was, how'd you find the game? So you found the game, too.
It was recommended on my App Store and the rest is history.
Pat?
I started playing with my grandsons. My grandsons started playing because they had a friend that played. They knew I was involved with the whole Simpsons back graining 6 separation thing. And we played because we could tag each other's towns. So I still have a very soft heart for everybody that tags. I love it. it's my way of saying hello. So.
Saf.
And my sister was playing the game, and so yeah, when I got my iPad, first app I downloaded 5 years ago today.
My story is similar to Joe's. I had an iPad because I've always had an Android phone. I refused to buy an Apple phone, but I had an iPad, and it was one of the games recommended in the store, so I downloaded it. Of course, I was pissed off I couldn't play it on my Android for 5 months, but yeah. Then
I actually was playing on my Kindle for a while, and that lasted for, Kindle Fire. That lasted for about 2 months before it ate up my Kindle Fire.
Your fire caught on fire?
Pretty much.
Oh. All right. October 10 Aussie says, I've been playing the game and frequenting the site for a bit over a year, so I'm sure this has been covered, but I was wondering what your top five episodes of the show are. We have answered this multiple times, sometimes just our favorite episode, but does never hurts to give top five.
I can't do top five.
Okay.
I don't remember this stuff.
Saf.
Homer at the bat, number one. Monorail. What else? Save Me Jeeves. With the museum, Lisa going to the museum. What else? Who Shot Mr. Burns? Part 1, part 2. Combine that as one episode.
I think you got one more.
And I like The Departed. I know it's recent and most people hate recent episodes, but I really like The Departed.
Okay. Joe, I know yours.
Marge versus the Monorail is definitely my favorite. Definitely like the Whacking Day episode, Camp Krusty, Duffless, Lemon of Troy. If we're going for a new episode, I'm doing a 6. Brick Like Me. I really liked that episode. I thought that was really good. And the Halloween of Horror was also really
that was a good one too.
Yeah. Stuff. So sure, that's 7. But I love all of them. It's hard to.
It's like asking to pick his favorite child.
Yeah, I'm really more along those lines. I don't remember the name. I don't remember the title. That's my problem. I don't remember the title.
Well, what's the theme? We can try to help you a little bit.
I like almost every single episode for some reason. I really do. There's been so few episodes that I go.
My Canadian is rubbing off on you.
Yeah, the yang finally. No, the deal is, each episode really has a little family in there. There's something going on that draws me in. The jokes are great. I mean, these guys,
except when they're really bad.
Well, but that's even when they're bad, they're better than tons of stuff on TV. That's the thing that's hilarious, is that you compare this to a regular sitcom. I mean, the jokes are just like bam, 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 bam. So yeah, they're going to fall every once in a while, but regular sitcoms, you're like waiting for something that's funny. I think
22 short stories. Sorry.
What's that? Go ahead.
22 short stories. I just want to add that to my list.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually thought ahead and found out the titles of these episodes, because I'm like you guys, I can never remember the actual title. Mm-hmm. But my favorite episode of all time will always be number 1 is Homer at Bat. And if you don't know that about me, clearly you haven't been reading the site. Right. And then after that, in no particular order, you got Marge versus the Monorail, Homer the Great, Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, because it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. Bart on the Road, which is the one 5. With the Sunsphere. I know, and that's it.
So I'm just saying, because sounds like you're still going.
I was counting, and then I was like, wait a minute, I thought I said 5. My fingers only went to 4. What am I doing? Suddenly I turned into a Simpson. I only had 4 fingers. So yeah, those are my 5.
Okay, Pat, our friendship hinges on this. Every man's dream. You did not like that episode, correct?
Remind me what that was again.
That was the premiere of season 27, where Homer and Marge have a trial separation.
Where Homer cheats on Marge with a girl named Candace.
Yeah, I hated that.
Okay, cool. We're still friends.
Yep.